Isaiah 50. Thus said Hashem, what is your mother's bill of divorce by which I sent her away? Or to which of my creditors have I sold you? Behold, it is for your iniquities that you have been sold, and for your rebellious sins that your mother has been sent away. Why is it that I have come and there is no man? Why is it that I have called and there is no one who answers? Is my hand too limited to grant redemption? Is there no strength in me to rescue? Behold, by my rebuke I dry the sea. I make rivers into a desert. Their fish become putrid for lack of water and die of thirst. I clothe heavens in blackness and make sackcloth their garment. My Lord Hashem Elohim has granted me a tongue for teaching, to understand the need of the times in conveying matters to those who thirst for knowledge. He arouses me morning after morning. He arouses my ear for me to understand as disciples are taught. My Lord Hashem Elohim has opened my ear for me, and I did not resist. I did not retreat to the rear. I submitted my body to those who smite, and my cheeks to those who pluck. I did not hide my face from humiliation and spit. For my Lord Hashem Elohim helps me. Therefore, I was not humiliated. Therefore, I made my face as hard as flint, and knew that I would not be ashamed. My champion is near. Whoever would contend with me, let us stand together. Whoever is my adversary, let him approach me. Behold, my Lord Hashem Elohim will help me. Who is he that will condemn me? Behold, they will all wear out like a garment. A moth will devour them. Who among you fears Hashem, listening to the voice of his servant? Though he may have walked in darkness with no light for himself, let him trust in the name of Hashem and rely upon his God. Behold, all of you are igniters of fire, kindlers of sparks. Go in the flame of your fire and in the sparks you have lit. From my hand has this decree come upon you, that you should die in sorrow. Isaiah 51. Listen to me, O pursuers of righteousness, O seekers of Hashem. Look to the rock from which you were hewn, and at the hollow of the pit from which you were dug. Look to Abraham, your father, and to Sarah, who bore you. For when he was yet one alone did I summon him, and bless him, and make him many. For Hashem will comfort Zion. He will comfort all her ruins. He will make her wilderness like Eden, and her wasteland like a garden of Hashem. Joy and gladness will be found there, thanksgiving and the sound of music. Pay attention to me, my people. Give ear to me, my nation. For instruction will come forth from me, and my judgment will be a light for peoples, to whom I will give rest. My righteousness is near. My salvation has gone forth. My arms will chastise nations. The islands will put their hope in me and will trust in my arm. Lift up your eyes to the heavens. Look at the earth below, for the heavens will dissipate like smoke, and the earth will wear out like a garment, and its inhabitants will die as well. But my salvation will be forever, and my righteousness will not be broken. Listen to me, you who know righteousness, the nation with my Torah in its heart. Do not fear from the disparagement of man, and do not be broken by their insults. For like a garment, a moth will eat them, and like wool, a worm will eat them. But my righteousness will be forever, and my salvation for all generations. Awaken, awaken, dawn strength, O arm of Hashem. Awaken as in the days of old, as in previous generations. Are you not the one who decimated the haughty, who terrified the sea serpent? Are you not the one who dried up the sea, the waters of the great deep, who made the depths of the sea a path for the redeemed ones to cross? Then the redeemed of Hashem will return and come to Zion with glad song, with eternal gladness upon their head. They will attain joy and gladness. Sadness and sighing will flee. I, only I am he who comforts you. Who are you that you should be afraid of mortal man, and of men who will be made as grass? You have forgotten Hashem, your maker, who spread out the heavens and set the foundations of the earth. And you are terrified continually, all day long, because of the oppressor's fury, when he prepares to destroy. But where is the oppressor's fury? The wanderer will soon be released, and will not die in the pit, nor will his bread be lacking. I am Hashem, your God, who roars at the sea and its waves rage, whose name is Hashem, master of legions. And I have placed my words in your mouth, and with the shade of my hand I have covered you, to implant the heavens and to set a foundation for the earth, and to say unto Zion, you are my people. Awaken yourself, awaken yourself, arise, O Jerusalem, you who have drunk from the hand of Hashem the cup of his fury. You have drunk from and drained the sediments of the cup of bewilderment. Among all the children she has borne, there is no one to guide her. Among all the children she has reared, there is no one to hold her hand. There are two calamities that have befallen you. Who will bewail you? The plunderer and the calamity, the hunger and the sword. With whom can I comfort you? Your children have fainted. They lie at the head of all streets like a wild bull trapped in a net. They are full of Hashem's fury, with your God's rebuke. Therefore, hear this now, O afflicted one, drunk, but not from wine. Thus said your Lord Hashem, and your God, who will fight for his people. Behold, I have removed the cup of bewilderment from your hand. From the sediments of the cup of my fury, you shall no longer drink any more, but I will put it into the hand of your tormentors, who have said to your soul, prostrate yourself so that we may pass over you, for whom you have made your body like the ground and like a street for passerby. Isaiah 52. Awaken, awaken, don your strength, O Zion. Don your garments of splendor, O Jerusalem, the holy city. For uncircumcised and defiled people will no longer enter you. Shake the dust from yourself. Arise and sit, O Jerusalem. Undo the straps on your neck, O captive daughter of Zion. For thus said Hashem, for naught were you sold, and not for money will you be redeemed. For thus said my Lord Hashem Elohim, as for Egypt, my people went down originally to sojourn there. But Assyria oppressed them without justification. So now, why should I remain here? The word of Hashem, where my people was taken for naught. Their rulers glorify themselves. The word of Hashem. And constantly, all day, my name is blasphemed. Therefore, my people shall know my name. Therefore, on that day, they will know that it is I who speaks. Here I am. How pleasant are the footsteps of the herald upon the mountains announcing peace, heralding good tidings, announcing salvation, saying to Zion, your God has reigned. The voice of your lookouts, they raise their voice. They sing glad song in unison. With their own eyes they will see that Hashem returns to Zion. Burst out, sing glad song in unison, O ruins of Jerusalem, for Hashem will have comforted his people. He will have redeemed Jerusalem. Hashem has bared his holy arm before the eyes of all nations. All ends of the earth will see the salvation of our God. Turn away, depart from there. It is defiled. Do not touch it. Depart from inside it. Cleanse yourselves, O bearers of Hashem's armor. You will not leave in haste, nor will you go in flight. For Hashem will go before you, and the God of Israel will be your rear guard. Behold, my servant will succeed. He will be exalted and become high and exceedingly lofty, just as multitudes were astonished over you, saying, indeed, his appearance is too marred to be a man's, and his visage to be human. So will the many nations exclaim, and kings will shut their mouths in amazement because of him. For they will see that which had never been told to them, and will perceive things they had never heard. Isaiah 53. Who would believe what we have heard? For whom has the arm of Hashem been revealed? Formerly he grew like a sapling, or like a root from arid ground. He had neither form nor grandeur. We saw him, but without such visage that we could desire him. He was despised and isolated from men, a man of pains and accustomed to illness. As one from whom we would hide our faces, he was despised, and we had no regard for him. But in truth, it was our ills that he bore, and our pains that he carried. But we had regarded him as diseased, stricken by God, and afflicted. He was pained because of our rebellious sins, and oppressed through our iniquities. The chastisement upon him was for our benefit, and through his wounds we were healed. We have all strayed like sheep, each of us turning his own way, and Hashem inflicted upon him the iniquity of us all. He was persecuted and afflicted, but he did not open his mouth. Like a sheep being led to the slaughter, or a ewe that is silent before her shearers, he did not open his mouth. Now that he has been released from captivity and judgment, who could have imagined such a generation? For he had been cut away from the land of the living. My people's sin brought the affliction upon them. He submitted himself to his grave like wicked men, and the wealthy submitted to his executions. For committing no crime, and with no deceit in his mouth, Hashem desired to oppress him, and he afflicted him. If his soul would acknowledge guilt, he would see offspring and live long days, and the desire of Hashem would succeed in his hand. From his very own toil he will see and be satisfied. With his knowledge, my servant, the righteous one, will make multitudes righteous. It is their iniquities that he will carry. Therefore, I will assign him a portion from the multitudes, and he will divide the mighty as spoils. In return for having poured out his soul for death and being counted among the wicked, for he bore the sin of the multitudes and prayed for the wicked. Isaiah 54. Sing out, O barren one who has not given birth. Break into glad song and be jubilant, you who have not been in birth travail. For the children of the desolate Jerusalem will outnumber the children of the inhabited one, said Hashem. Broaden the place of your tent, and let the curtains of your dwelling stretch out. Stint not. Lengthen your cords and strengthen your pegs, for you will burst out to the right and to the left. Your offspring will inherit nations, and they will settle desolate cities. Fear not, for you will not be shamed. Do not feel humiliated, for you will not be disgraced. For you will forget the shame of your youth, and you will no longer recall the disgrace of your widowhood. For your master is your maker. Hashem, master of legions, is his name. Your Redeemer is the Holy One of Israel. God of all the world will he be called. For like a wife who has been forsaken and melancholy has Hashem called you. And like a wife of one's youth who had become despised, said your God. For but a brief moment have I forsaken you, and with abundant mercy will I gather you in. With a slight wrath I have concealed my countenance from you for a moment, but with eternal kindness shall I show you mercy, said your Redeemer, Hashem. For like the waters of Noah shall this be to me, just as I swore that the waters of Noah would never again pass over the earth, so have I sworn not to be wrathful with you, nor to rebuke you. For the mountains may be moved, and the hills may falter, but my kindness shall not be removed from you, and my covenant of peace shall not falter, said the one who shows you mercy, Hashem. O afflicted, storm-tossed one, who has not been consoled, behold, I will lay gems as your flooring stones, and your foundation with sapphire. I will set your window frames with ruby, and make your gates of carbuncle stones, and your entire boundary will be of precious stones. All your children will be students of Hashem, and your children's peace will be abundant. Establish yourself through righteousness. Distance yourself from oppression, for you need not fear it, and from devastation, for it will not come near you. Behold, they may indeed gather together, but it is without my consent. Whoever will gather against you will fail because of you. Behold, I created the smith, who fans his charcoal flame and withdraws a tool for his labor. But I have also created the destroyer to demolish. Any weapon sharpened against you will not succeed, and any tongue that will rise against you in judgment, you will condemn. This is the heritage of the servants of Hashem, and their righteousness from me, the word of Hashem. Isaiah 55. Ho, everyone who is thirsty, go to the water. Even one with no money, go, buy and eat. Go and buy wine and milk without money and without price. Why do you weigh out money without getting bread and exert your efforts for that which does not satisfy? Listen well to me, and you will eat well, and your soul will delight in rich food. Incline your ear and come to me. Listen, and your soul will be rejuvenated. I will make an eternal covenant with you, the enduring kindnesses of David. Behold, I have appointed him as a witness over the regimes, a prince and a commander to the regimes. Behold, you will summon a nation you had not known, and a nation that had not known you will run to you, for the sake of Hashem your God, for the Holy One of Israel, who has glorified you. Seek Hashem when he can be found. Call upon him when he is near. Let the wicked one forsake his way, and the iniquitous man his thoughts. Let him return to Hashem, and he will show him mercy. To our God, for he is abundantly forgiving. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, and your ways are not my ways. The word of Hashem. As high as the heavens over the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. For just as the rain and snow descend from heaven and will not return there, rather it waters the earth and causes it to produce and sprout, and gives seed to the sower for food to the eater, so shall be my word that emanates from my mouth. It will not return to me unfulfilled unless it will have accomplished what I desired and brought success where I sent it. For in gladness shall you go out, and in peace shall you arrive. The mountains and hills will break out in glad song before you, and all the trees of the field will clap hands. In place of the thorn bush, a cypress will rise, and in place of the nettle, a myrtle will rise. This will be a monument to Hashem, an eternal sign never to be cut down. Welcome back. That was a fantastic reading. Isaiah describes in nearly 2 chapters the tremendous ridicule that he has had to bear for his belief in God. Being a prophet of God has been literally physically challenging for this guy, but he describes his demeanor as being entirely unaffected. And so the cup of bewilderment that has been poured out on Israel will now be withdrawn. However, it is warned that this redemption will not come from money. Whatever it is, God's servant will be successful at it. The whole world will look at this servant and they will shut their mouths in amazement. They will perceive things that they had not perceived before, and they'll see things that they hadn't seen before. Now, this speaks to the blind being able to hear. This is a common theme. Now, chapter 53 reads that this servant of God was deliberately chosen to suffer the pain for all the sins. Isaiah describes this man as somebody discarded. He's not a majestic or a royal figure that we would look at and say, wow. We would look at this guy and be like, eh. But Hashem, by design, inflicts the suffering and the punishment of all the sin on this guy. But he himself is completely forthright and honest with God. Now, you should hear this and say, that's not fair. And I would totally agree. However, this man will not open his mouth in protest. Verse 9 reads, he submits himself to the grave like a wicked man. And he did this knowing that he was completely innocent. Why? Why did he do that? What does this mean? Now, we have a bunch of chapters describing the physical annihilation of these people because of their sins. Then, a storyline of a very special servant of God, who is God, who comes and is tortured. And all of that is on purpose. Verse 11 to me seems to indicate that this servant of God could have chosen another way. And if he had done so, God would have blessed him. He said, fine, no worries. But this guy's purpose was to be afflicted, and he chooses. This guy chooses the obedience. In exchange for this sacrifice, in exchange for this obedience, God will grant this man enormous glory, and kings will honor him. From this man, an eternal covenant of peace will come, and it will replace the first covenant of peace. Now, what do you think of that? Thank you for watching. That's it for now. The NQE is out.